Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to be back to Hare Krishna. Very happy to be back to this wonderful temple, this wonderful community. And today we were requested to address the topic of book distribution. And we decided to read one verse from Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, one very exciting chapter of Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, one of the most beautiful chapters is Ādi-līlā chapter 7, which originally is entitled Śrī pañca-tattva, Lord Caitanya in 5 features. And it was so inspiring that it's been published separately by BBT. And so we'll read text 163, and before that we will chant mantras glorifying Krishna Guru and Vaishnavas. Om Gyantimirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chaksharanmiritam Yena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namah. Śrī Caitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Śrī Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvasadi Gaur Bhakta Vṛnda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhutaya Mahaprema Puravibhu Nirmaya Kshatir Mushpurusha Bhunte Ganam Sada Sasada Satmaka Yalang Krishna Bhagavan Vacham Sime Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vṛnda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vṛnda Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vṛnda Hare Krishna. So our prayers became successful and the text appeared on the screen. So let's chant responsively. Hey pañca-tattva-rūpe śrī-kṛṣṇa-caitanya. Hey pañca-tattva-rūpe śrī-kṛṣṇa-caitanya. Hey pañca-tattva-rūpe śrī-kṛṣṇa-caitanya. Hey pañca-tattva-rūpe śrī-kṛṣṇa-caitanya. Krishna nama prema diya vishwa-kaila dhanya. 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 Hey pañca-tattva-rūpe śrī-kṛṣṇa-caitanya. Hey pañca-tattva-rūpe śrī-kṛṣṇa-caitanya. Krishna nama prema diya vishwa-kaila dhanya. Krishna nama prema diya vishwa-kaila dhanya. Very beautiful poetry. Let's chant the synonyms. A, this. pañca-tattva-rūpe, the Lord in his 5 forms. Śrī Caitanya, Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, Krishna Nama, the holy name of Lord Krishna, Prema, love of Krishna, Diya, delivering, Vishva, the whole world, Koila, made, Danya, thankful. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Actually, I wanted to read the next verse, but never mind. We'll read 2 verses. No loss. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates of the pañca-tattva distributed the holy name of the Lord to invoke love of Godhead throughout the universe, and thus the entire universe was thankful. Purport. Here it is said that Lord Caitanya made the entire universe thankful to him for propagating the saṅkīrtana movement with his associates. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu has already sanctified the entire universe by his presence 500 years ago, and therefore anyone who attempts to serve Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu sincerely by following in his footsteps and following the instructions of the acharyas will successfully be able to preach the holy name of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all over the universe. How many of you want to successfully preach Hare Krishna Mahamantra all over the universe? Haribo. There are some foolish critics who say that Europeans and Americans cannot be offered sannyas, but here we find that Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the saṅkīrtana movement all over the universe. For preaching work, sannyāsīs are essential. These critics think that only Indians or Hindus should be offered sannyas to preach, but their knowledge is practically nil. Without sannyāsīs, the preaching work will be impeded. Therefore, under the instruction of Lord Caitanya and with the blessings of his associates, there should be no discrimination in this matter, but people in all parts of the world should be trained to preach and given sannyas so that the cult of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's saṅkīrtana movement will expand boundlessly. We do not care about the criticism of fools. We shall go on with our work and simply depend on the blessings of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, the pañca-tattva. Text 164. Mathurāte pāṭhāila rūpa-sanātana Duisena patikoila bhakti pracharana. Lord Caitanya dispatched the 2 generals, Rupa Gosvāmī and Sanatana Gosvāmī, to Vṛndāvana to preach the bhakti cult. Purport. When Rupa Gosvāmī and Sanatana Gosvāmī went to Vṛndāvana, there was not a single temple. But by their preaching, they were gradually able to construct various temples. Sanatana Gosvāmī constructed the Madan Mohan temple, and Rupa Gosvāmī constructed the Govindaji temple. Similarly, their nephew Jiva Gosvāmī constructed the Radha Damodar temple. Śrī Gopala Bhatta Gosvāmī constructed the Radha Raman temple. Śrī Lokanath Gosvāmī constructed the Gokula Ananda temple, and Shyamananda Gosvāmī constructed the Shyama Sundar temple. In this way, many temples were gradually constructed. For preaching, construction of temples is also necessary. The Gosvāmis not only engaged in writing books, but also constructed temples, because both are needed for preaching work. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the cult of his saṅkīrtana movement to spread all over the world. Now that the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has taken up this task of preaching the cult of Lord Caitanya, its members should not only construct temples in every town and village of the globe, but also distribute the books that have already been written and further increase the number of books. Book distribution Both distribution of books and construction of temples must continue side by side in parallel lines. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, just by reading these two verses and purports, you can understand how nectarian this chapter is. And if you haven't read it, please take this opportunity to read Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Srila Prabhupada said, Bengali sweets are very popular, and the greatest Bengali sweet is Caitanya-caritāmṛta. And so, yes, Srila Prabhupada explains that by following Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, we're supposed to construct temples and publish books. And your job here in Pune is already half done, because you already have wonderful temple constructed by His Grace Radhishyam Prabhu. It's quite amazing if you think about it, because this is such a large temple complex. It's one of the largest, not only in Bharat, but one of the largest on the planet. So, and it's all thanks to the inspiration and perspiration of His Grace Radhishyam Prabhu. And I was thinking this morning that it seems to be contradictory, such a big temple constructed by a small man. Radhishyam Prabhu, as we all know, and if someone haven't got the fortune to associate with him, to meet with him, I hope you will have that in future. He's not very tall. He's quite small, physically and socially, brahmachari, right? At the bottom of the varnashram ladder. So how come that such a small man constructed not just a temple, but a temple complex? It's quite interesting that you need Jai Shri Radha Vṛndāvana Chandra Jagannath Bhadra Subhadra Mai Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai. That you actually need temple complex to make your life simple, which sounds like contradiction, right? But actually, without temple complex, life could be very complicated, right? And you have temple complex here, which serves all the needs, right? From prasadam to education, from engagement, etc. Everything is there. And even though it seems to be a paradox, but our life consists of paradoxes, right? For example, people suffer when they try to enjoy. And they can actually start enjoying, as Prahlad Maharaj says, when they give up the efforts to enjoy and rather dedicate themselves to serving the Lord, right? And actually, it is like that. In order to do big in life, you need to be small. Because this is one of the most essential teachings of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He left only 8 written instructions. Everything else was orally passed down. And he highlighted of the 8, the 3rd instruction as most important. Trinat api sunicana taror iva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. So humility, tolerance, and respect without expecting any respect. These are the most important qualities to continue chanting the holy name, to always chant the holy name, which is the foundation of our Krishna conscious development. And so we can see Srila Prabhupada was also a small man, right? His stature was not very tall, but he constructed not only one, but 108 temples, and not just in a lifetime, but just in 11 final years of his life, all over the world. So it shows that someone might be very small, but if someone surrendered then to Krishna, then there is someone very big standing behind that small person. And who is that? Śrī Krishna himself. I remember one funny story, which is not exactly book distribution story, but it's saṅkīrtana story told by my spiritual master, Srila Swami, how one time one very demoniac man attacked Harinam party, and so there was one lady, Mataji, carrying sweets on the tray to distribute to the public, to the onlookers, and this man, and he was really large and very strong, and he came and he kicked that tray from the bottom, and all the sweets went on the ground. And my Guru Maharaj was leading that Harinam party, and he lost his patience with this man. And he actually, he's a trained Navy SEAL, American Navy SEAL. And so he ran up to him and he punched him in the face. And that man, even though he was big, but the punch was pretty hard, so he fell over. And after that, my Guru Maharaj said, I actually, measured his size, and I realized that he's much higher than me and much larger than me. One of his fists is like my head, and if he will punch me in return, I probably won't survive. But, he said there was no other option but to try to, continue attacking him. But when he looked at his face, this man looked very, very scared. And then my Guru Maharaj said, I got encouraged. I said, yes, you should be scared doing such a nonsense. And this man was not even trying to stand up. He would crawl away. And Maharaj said, now you should pick up all the sweets and eat them from the ground. Otherwise, I'll beat you very hard. And he started actually putting prasadam in his mouth. And then after he ate all the sweets, he quickly stood up and ran away. And my Guru Maharaj said, I felt myself very, powerful like that, chasing away such a huge demon. But he said, when I turned around, I realized why this man looked so scared. Because all the devotees were standing behind me with some sticks and stones, ready to attack this man if he will try to do something else. So he was scared of all these devotees. So like that. So it's an example that our power is not within us, but our power is behind us. That's Krishna, Guru and Vaishnavas. That's our power. And so, yes, Srila Prabhupada was a small man with a huge mission, And Radhishyam Prabhu is also, as a true follower of Srila Prabhupada, has a huge mission which he successfully executes. And book distribution, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, is one of the most important cutting edge of the Krishna conscious development. And I'm pretty sure that many of you are distributing books already. Please raise your hands if you're distributing books already. Please raise them higher. Okay, quite a few. About half. And how many of you are not distributing Prabhupada's books yet, but would like to have an inspiration to join this wonderful mission of Srila Prabhupada? Okay. So, a little secret that you can achieve any goal in your life as long as you know the answers to 7 most important questions. And you can actually, if you don't know about that, you can write it down. That could help you tremendously. That's one of the secrets of Radhishyam Prabhu. Because he knows exactly not only what he wants to do, but how to do it. And so these questions are what, who, how, when, where, why, and how much. So these are the 7 most essential questions. And of course, out of the 7, which ones you have to start with? Why? That's the first one. Yeah, first and foremost is why, because that gives motivation, that gives reasoning. And then, of course, know how, right? How to do it is also important. And so, this is the first and foremost question. Why distribute Prabhupada books? And most likely, if you think about it, you could find at least 108 good reasons to distribute Prabhupada books. But we won't have so much time, but let's explore at least few reasons. Why distribute books? What's the benefit? What is in there for me? Anyone? Well, let me start. That makes Vaishnavas happy. That makes Guru happy. That makes Krishna happy. And that benefits everyone who comes across. And it makes us happy as well. So, first 5 reasons. Anyone else would like to contribute to some motivational reason why distribute books? Especially those who already do, you should know very well the answers to this question. Okay, becoming dear to Krishna. Very good. Anyone else? Purification of our consciousness, it benefits us in the first place. Anyone else? Fighting for Krishna, right?
Compassion for the...
Oh, compassion, or showing compassion for everyone. But fighting for Krishna is also there.
They don't attack Maya. Maya will attack.
Okay, we should attack Maya before Maya attacks us. Very good.
Most of the people are looking for Krishna, but they don't know.
Looking for?
Krishna. Looking for Krishna.
Yeah, everyone's looking for Krishna, so we're giving Krishna to people. Yes.
The movement should be long run, so we have to do the book.
Sorry?
The movement should be the long run and to please the many people, those who are unable to come to books they can.
So give strong foundation to our movement? Very good. Yes. Anyone else?
Convert knowledge into realization.
Okay, that converts knowledge into realization. Very good. Yes. And by the way, I was thinking also to construct temples That seems to be very hard, right? Very hard task. But it's actually not hard, because if you have big heart, even if you are small, but if you have big heart, it's not hard. You just have to work smart instead of working hard, right? And you have to know the art. So knowing the art and working smart, that's jnana vijnana triptatma kutastha vijatendriya. And the book distribution gives you all the necessary qualification for doing anything in Krishna consciousness. That's why you will see that any powerful leader who have done something very substantial for Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Krishna, they had very good experience in book distribution, all of them. No exceptions, practically speaking. So, yeah, empowerment, that also comes from book distribution. So there are many, many more reasons. We could talk unlimitedly about book distribution, but one of the most exciting for me personally, even though I don't have so much opportunity to distribute books because there are so many other things right now, but I've distributed books for a number of years non-stop. And one of the most exciting points is that you can actually see Krishna in front of your eyes when you distribute books. Krishna manifests himself in very powerful ways. And there are many, many stories how Krishna manifests himself. Would you like to hear some book distribution stories? So, one story actually happened in Western Ukraine, and one devotee, he practiced for a few years, achieved something. Krishna consciousness always gives a lot of benefits to anyone who is practicing it. Yesterday I asked one of my god brothers, what's happening with his professional life? Is he working less hard? He said, yes. The more I practice Krishna consciousness, the less I have to spend my time doing my, professional job. And I was asking, if your pay is rising? He said, yes. So less effort materially and more results. So this is one of the benefits Krishna gives to the devotee. So there are also unlimited benefits, even though devotee is not practicing Krishna consciousness for benefits, but benefits are coming naturally, automatically, right? Because Krishna wants to encourage and support the devotee. But the danger is to start thinking, it's all mine, it's all my achievements, and becoming a little proud of it. And what's happening next, if someone becomes a little proud, then one starts criticizing other devotees. Looking down at other devotees, it's called arrogance. Arrogance is really dangerous trap of Maya. And so this is what happened to this devotee. He started criticizing devotees. And what happens if you criticize devotees? You lose taste for practicing Krishna consciousness. And after losing taste, what's happening? The taste for material sense gratification is increasing. So this is what happened to this unfortunate devotee. And after a very short time, he gave up practices, gave up association with devotees, and he was thinking, never mind, I'll just enjoy my life as I used to before. And of course, what do you need for enjoyment? Money, first and foremost, requirement. And, interestingly enough, for such devotees, Krishna through Maya fulfills his desires, so he got big inheritance, a lot of money in inheritance. And he prepared himself to enjoy, but lo and behold, there were few other people who were interested in that money. And they started making his life very difficult. And they accused him falsely of something he never did. And he was arrested by the police. And police started demanding that he, tells honestly what he did wrong, but he was not agreeing to that. So they started beating him very hard. So they beat him very hard. They kept him in prison for a while. One way or the other, he got out of it. And his troubles continued. This is how Maya works, right? With Krishna, it's different. The system with Krishna is first pay, then play, right? You can play with Krishna if you paid enough, right? In terms of your devotional services and austerities. Then you can play, pay and play. But with Maya, it's opposite. It's play and pay. That's called credit. Maya gives you anything you want on credit, but then when the price tag comes, that's really shocking. And so this is what happened to this devotee. So his life became miserable. And he was regretting very bitterly, and he was praying, please, Krishna, let me start practicing Krishna consciousness again. And immediately after he prayed, believe it or not, there was his doorbell ringing. And he opened the door, and whom did he see at the door? A book distributor with stack of books in his hand. And he realized, this is Krishna answered my prayers. And he paid full dandavat to this devotee. He was so happy because he saw him as manifestation of Krishna. That's interesting story, right? But would you like to know the other side of this story also? Meanwhile, in this place, devotees were going out on book distribution. And there was one young man, he was very new. He just joined the movement. And they inspired him, they told him, let's go on book distribution. It's such a fun, it's so nice, it's the best service you could ever imagine. And under the influence of this inspiration, he went on. He went with devotees to distribute books. But, of course, without much training, without much qualification, it's very hard to distribute books. And no matter how hard he tried, he approached so many people, and he was refused. Everyone was refusing him. And, of course, many of you know, if you get enough refusals, it's easy to become totally discouraged. So he was totally discouraged. And then in his mind, he decided, looks like, they told me I'll have fun, but I don't have any fun here. So I try one more time. And he was going door to door. I tried one more, last time, and if the same thing happens, I will understand that Krishna consciousness is not something I should be involved in this lifetime, right? And then he rings the doorbell, the door opens, and the man in the apartment pays full dandavats to him. That's pretty amazing, right? How Krishna is organizing. Krishna, in one go, he achieves so many purposes, right? Yes. Krishna is so amazing. And this is what book distribution gives. It gives you opportunity to see Krishna in front of your eyes like that. So, Would you like one more story? There are so many. Anyway, it's hard to choose. One devotee was distributing books, and it was Nrsingadev appearance day, Nrsinga Chaturdashi. And he was distributing books in, underground station, because it's always, sheltered from rain, snow, whatever, and it's easier to stop people, give them books. And there were few beggars sitting there as well. And he was doing book distribution there every day, and he would always have some prasadam for beggars, and he would give them some prasadam. And so they really loved him, those beggars. And some of them were disabled. And so there was a policeman, some police officer, and devotee was there with books, and then this police officer came and he said, "You cannot do any illegal sales in here without license. You have to go." And devotee was thinking, it's such a nice place, I don't want to go. So he just went a little bit distant to the other side of the same underground place, and he just continued distributing books. But then this police officer spotted him there, and he ran toward him, and he was so angry, he was red, with fuming with rage. And he said, "I warned you. You didn't listen to me. Now I will arrest you and I will give you a very hard time." And so he grabbed the devotee and started pulling him along to the police station. But then those beggars, especially some of the lady beggars there, they were telling, "You're such a nice boy. You're like our son," right? And then one of the lady, and she was disabled, she only had one leg, and she was on crutches. And she said, "What's happening? Our son got arrested. Who is this man? Why he is arresting our son?" And then policeman, of course, didn't pay any attention to her. But then she got angry, and she stood on her crutches, and she came to the policeman, and she lifted one crutch, all disabled lady. And policeman didn't expect, and she hit him on the head very hard with the crutch, to such an extent that he, lost his balance. He nearly fell over. And he got so bewildered, he let the devotee go. Of course, he couldn't fight with elderly disabled lady. And he also realized that actually, she attacked him for good reason. She had good reason to attack him like this, even though, of course, it was a legal thing to do. But he didn't say anything. He was just bewildered, and he lost his cap. And policeman without cap is not a policeman, of course. So, and then, he was looking, where is my cap? But then this devotee, he picked up the cap and he gave it to the officer, and he looked at the devotee and he said, "Thank you very much," and then he ran to his police station. And this, lady, she was wielding her crutch, and she was saying, "Don't come back here." And the devotee said, "I heard the Nrsingadev's roar," through her screaming. So, Nrsingadev somehow manifested through this lady to save him from being arrested. So, anyway, I can tell you last one, which I like the most. Devotees, of course, Srila Prabhupada's marathon, in the West it's called Christmas marathon, because Jesus Christ was born in December. But actually it's not Christmas marathon. We know very well that it is Krishna's marathon. Why? Because Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita in December. So it is Gita Marathon. And interestingly enough, this year it falls on the very first day of December. And interesting that, for us, we call it Moksha Ekadashi, but in South India, this is most important Ekadashi of the year. They call it Vaikuntha Ekadashi. So very powerful. So yes, it's dedicated to Bhagavad Gita. So in the same way as Bhagavad Gita, as Kurukshetra battle was thought in December, right? So we have to fight our battle, but not with Shastra, but with Shastra, right? We have our spiritual knowledge, which is our weapon, by which we can defeat the forces of Maya. And, of course, Bharat being Punya Bhumi, Dharma Bhumi, gives a lot of advantages. One advantage is nice weather. You don't have any snow or ice. Probably many of you who never went outside of Bharat or never been to Himalayas, you never even saw snow or ice. But in very demoniac countries like Russia, there is always a lot of snow and ice in December. December and January, these are the coldest months. And devotees still go out and distribute books in such a weather. And so one devotee, he was distributing books, and then he stopped one young and very beautiful looking lady, and he offered her books, and the book he had in his hand was Krishna book. So he said, I have some nice books, would you like to take this one? And he showed her Krishna book. And as soon as she saw the title, Krishna, she became so annoyed. And she said, Krishna, I don't want to have nothing to do with Krishna. And then she turned very abruptly around to show that he has no interest in the book, and she was planning to carry on. But then she slipped on the ice, and she started falling. And this devotee, brahmachari, he was thinking, I have to grab her to prevent her from falling, but I'm brahmachari. How can I grab a woman like that? But then she came up with the solution. Instead of giving her his hand, he gave her Krishna book to grab on. So, and she grabbed on Krishna's book, and she was so shocked, even after regaining her balance, she didn't let Krishna book out from her hand. But then devotee let the book out, and she was holding Krishna book like that in her hand. And she was panting, and she said, thank you very much for saving me. Because the result of that fall, she was falling backward, could be very dramatic. And she said, thank you, you saved me. And devotee said, no, it's not me. It's Krishna who saved you. And she looked at the book, and she said, it's true, Krishna saved me. I didn't want to deal with Krishna, but Krishna saved me. So let me take this book. So Krishna is making such an amazing arrangements to bring people to him. And it's all happening when we distribute books. And so, therefore, it's a golden opportunity not to be missed. If you don't have much experience, it is recommended that you go with some devotee who has experience and who can show and train you up how to do it nicely and how to enjoy the process. And we have a few more minutes if anyone has any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints. Please.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for sharing the story of that devotee who was about to get caught by police. Maharaj, my question is, when we are going out for book distribution, sometimes we may also face certain situations where the officials are not happy with us. Krishna may help sometimes, like he helped that devotee, but Krishna may not help also sometimes. So in those situations, when we are not getting the help or we are not getting any idea to escape from that situation, how can we save ourselves? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, very good question. And to illustrate the question, to give the answer, I'll tell you one more story. That's exactly matching those circumstances. That devotees were distributing books, again, in Russia, in one place. Very successfully, many people were buying, but it was a marketplace. And those people who were selling their things there, they became envious. They became a little jealous of devotees. And they said, why are you don't have any license to sell anything here, and you taking away all our clients. They don't buy anything from us because they buy your books and spend their money on your books. So you should not be in here, and if you don't go away, we will call police. And then devotees didn't go away, and they called the police. And it was already not the first time, because this particular market was very good for book distribution. So devotees were distributing their books regularly. And regularly they were getting arrested by the police. And then police comes, because they were called, and they were saying, it's you again. How many times can we arrest you and give you fine? What is so special about those books? You are so determined to distribute those books. Are these books something very special? And devotee said, yes, these are very special books. And the police officer, he said, okay, give me one set, I'll pay you. I want to read those books. And so instead of arresting the devotees, he also bought books. And they went away. And devotees continued distribution of books. So like that, it says that in Russia we have a saying that the drops of water can penetrate through the stone, right? We all know it. And so if we're determined enough, if we continue, because it's always like that. Everywhere you start preaching, there will be opposition, 100% guarantee. From one side or the other side, or sometimes from all sides. And you just have to carry on. And after a while, because Krishna in this way is testing our determination. You like to hear one more book distribution story? Devotee distributes books door to door. And in one apartment, there is a man, and he said, oh, these are very interesting books. And I want this book, Bhagavad Gita. I'll buy this book. And I'll give you for this book $100, which is a lot of money, which is 8,000 or 9,000 rupees now, right? So about 9,000 rupees for Bhagavad Gita. Did anyone ever got so much for a Bhagavad Gita? So he said, I'll pay you this money, but there is a condition. I have Russian vodka, very strong alcohol drink. And he said, I'll give you 1 glass of vodka, and you have to drink that glass, and after that, I'll buy your book, and you'll get the money. So if you're really interested in me purchasing this book, just drink this glass of vodka. And the devotee thought, what's the nonsense? He wants me to drink just to buy the book. I have no interest in this. He said, no, thank you very much. And then he turned around to go away. But the man said, "Can you please stop for a moment? Actually, I was testing you. I was testing how much you are strict in following whatever you're supposed to follow as Hare Krishna. And I can see that, you are very strong. And I respect that. And because I promised you $100 for a book, I'll give you that $100 for the book. So congratulations, you passed the test." And anyone who did book distribution knows very well that there are regular tests. But we should understand that these tests are arranged by Krishna. And Krishna is looking how well we can pass those tests to give us, in one sense, book distribution is like a computer game, right? Which are very popular. Computer games are very popular. And in computer game, in order to get to the next level, you have to, pass certain tests, right? Certain trials. You have to successfully go through that. Then you can go to the higher and better level. So book distribution is something like that. Krishna is putting some tests on your path, and if you pass through, you can go to the next level. And then next, all the way up to Goloka Vṛndāvana. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, ladies have some question? Is there another mic? Yeah, good. No, it's okay. I'll repeat the question. Please speak a little bit closer to the mic, because it's hard to hear. How to be enthusiastic in book distribution? Well, if you have enough motivation to distribute books, you will definitely be enthusiastic, because books are something which people really need, and we cannot even imagine how important it is for everyone to have Prabhupada's books. I'll tell you a personal story that I was going out on book distribution and waiting for the bus to go to my saṅkīrtana spot. And then on the bus stop there was one very big man. He looked like a bear, right? Very huge. And he came to me, I was dressed in Vaishnava dress, and he said, "Are you Buddhist?" Oftentimes people mistake us for Buddhists because some Buddhist monks, they also wear saffron robes. I said, "No, I'm a Hare Krishna." And he said, "What is the difference between Buddhists and Hare Krishnas?" So in order to make it very simple, I told him, Buddhists, they don't believe in God, but Hare Krishnas believe in God. And then he became very serious and he said, "Is there God in reality?" I said, "Of course there is God." And he said, "How will I know that God is there?" And I said, "Very simple. If you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you will see Krishna in your life manifested in so many ways. And Krishna will look after you. Krishna will make sure that all your problems are solved." Somehow I got the inspiration to tell him that. And I told him, it's very simple, you just try. You don't have to believe anything, just try and see for yourself the results. And I was busy showing him, the, what you call it, mantra meditation instructions in the book. And then I looked up in his face and I saw him crying, tears. And I was shocked. I couldn't figure out what, especially such a huge and powerful man crying, this is very strange. And especially, what did I tell him? Just try to chant Hare Krishna. And he answered the question. He said, I'm crying because I was about to go and commit suicide. But you told me, because I have so many problems in my life, you cannot imagine. But you told me with such conviction that if I'll chant Hare Krishna, all my problems will be solved, that before I commit suicide, I'm willing to try that. So please give me the book. And so I'm pretty sure Krishna took care of him. So like that, Saṅkīrtana not only saves lives spiritually, but sometimes it saves people's lives physically also, right? Because without Krishna consciousness, people do not see any reason to live. And so, this is one important motivation to go on book distribution. But, of course, something which can dampen our enthusiasm are refusals, right? How many of you had this experience, that refusals dampen your enthusiasm?
Yes.
And you know why it is happening? How many of you want to be 100% unaffected by any refusal? I'll give you a very simple and very powerful technique. When you go out distributing books, distribute books. Do not give people any mini lectures out there, right? Do not try to explain too much to people, because your goal is to distribute as many books as you can in the short, time you are out there. And very simple and very logical conclusion is that the more people you cover, the more books you will distribute. And when I discovered that simple formula, I don't have to spend much time with anybody. If they want book, they take book. If they don't take book, they can, go whenever, wherever, it's not my business. If Krishna is not inspiring them, why should I try, right? Let Krishna inspire them if he wants them to take the book. If he's not inspiring them, why should I waste my time with them? And so I was moving from one person to the other very quickly. And people didn't even have time to say no. Because if they were not saying yes, I just moved on. And when the time came for December marathon, I thought, marathon, that's the time when people run, not walk. And instead of walking from one person to the other, I have to run from one person to the other. And I started running. And you know what happened? I ended up with a whole bunch of people running after me. Telling, why are you running away from us? You're trying to offer your books to us, and you don't give us any chance to buy them. And I said, I'm sorry, but there are so many important people waiting for me who are very eager to buy these books. You do not respond immediately, that is the proof that you're not very eager to buy them. And they would say, no, we want to buy. And I would say, if you really want to buy, we're not going to stop. I'll keep running. On the run, you take the book, you give me the money, and that's it. And they would do that. Of course, you don't have to do that, because it could be pretty tiring running around all day long. But if you waste zero time with anyone, Whoever's interested, okay. Because, say if you have 5 minutes, you could waste that 5 minutes on one person who is not very willing, and within these 5 minutes, at least 10 willing people would pass by, and you wouldn't have time for them. So, it says that one feature of busy person is that he is walking pretty fast, right? Because he doesn't have time to spare. So, understand you are very busy with very important mission and don't waste any time. When you distribute books, distribute books. Do not give any lectures or sermons to people. Prabhupada was also condemning that. He said, what will your 1-minute lecture accomplish? Just give him a book. That's the most important thing. Let Krishna and Guru preach to him rather than me preaching to them. Who am I to explain people anything? Of course, sometimes you can make exceptions to someone who is, you can use your discretion. Sometimes if someone already got the book and he wants to ask some, questions, that's fine. You can spend a little time, but try to be as frugal as possible with time. All right, so
9:30.
5 more minutes,
Yeah.
okay? Looks like okay. More questions.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving one more opportunity. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Perform your duty and don't attach to the fruits of the work. So in book distribution, at least when I am going out, I am always thinking about the results. How much scores I get, or will I be able to distribute so many books in this day? So how to focus on book distribution and not on the results? If you can please help, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the result, we are naturally interested in results. This is our nature. And we should strive for result, but the result is not how much we got. The result is not the fruit. The result is the effort we are putting in the service. Because the results Krishna is giving, but the effort depends on us. So the successful book distribution is when we put maximum effort into the process. This is what makes Krishna happy. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, when the time is over, all questions are coming.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you very much for the lecture. Maharaj, you said 7 questions you told, like why, how, and all of them. Can you just give the quick answers to all of them?
Repeat those questions. Yes?
Answers to those questions.
Oh, answers. Well, in relation to any goal, say if your goal is to become successful book distributor, why? Because we answered the question why. How to do that? By associating with other devotees who are very expert in the field. And what shall I do? As we said, when you go out on book distribution, don't give classes to people, distribute books, right? And whenever you have spare time, who should be the beneficiaries, those people who are interested, etc. Right? You got the idea?
Yes.
Thank
you, Maharaj.
Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Maharaj, thank you very much for your beautiful lecture, and I accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. And Maharaj, my question is that you said just move on if show them the book, like that show them the book. If they are interested, they will buy. But we should avoid the lectures. So, but if we don't tell them about the book, so how will they get interested?
You can tell them about the book if they are interested to buy it. If they are interested, you can tell them. But if they are hesitant or not interested, just move on. That's the idea. So whatever you say is just for the purpose of them buying the book. But if they don't show any interest, do not try to change them. Do not waste any time and effort in trying to, bend them. Just leave them. Just tell them, have a good day, we'll see you next time. And that's it, and move on.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so last. Yes. So we finish here?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, book distribution marathon ki jai, upcoming Gita Jayanti ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Let us profusely express our gratitude to His Holiness Bhakti Rasayana Sagara Swami Maharaj. He explained so many beautiful stories about book distribution, how book distribution is a game, it's fun, it's adventure, it's taste, it saves life physically and spiritually. One very important tip, don't try to create interest in people, find interested people. So let us express our gratitude by 3 times loudly chanting Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! The wonderful association of Maharaj continues. Tomorrow Srimad Bhagavatam class at Radha Kunj Bihari temple, and day after tomorrow Srimad Bhagavatam class at NVCC. Today's Bhagavad Gita Marathi class will be given by His Grace Sakhinath Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.